You didn't
I
know
wish
you
I
were
would
going
have
to have
taken
homework?
notes.
No, I
All
didn't know it was
right.
good homework. I usually like to be more prepared.
Well, you know what? It's a good thing you watched the show last night. That way you were semi-prepared, right?
Yeah, I'll just I'll just prefer people to bring up things to cue my memory.
Okay. Well, right now we're having Chatter That Matters. We are doing a review show from the male molestation or male sexual assault show that we did yesterday. I thought it was powerful. I've gotten a lot of feedback on that, and I wanted to get some more voices in here for you. Gentlemen, please introduce yourselves.
Who first?
Okay, Steve, go first. You know what? It's you first because you are you're the expert, here when it comes to live streaming. You've been around a long time.
I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but
Well, you know what? I
I
shouldn't
do all
say
right.
long time. I should say you've been hanging on a lot of panels more
Yeah.
than Bradford here.
Yeah. So my name's Steve Jarrett Jordan, and I just roll with a bunch of different people. I'm a professional mechanic, but I'm a bibliophile and a bibliophile and a autodidactic individual who just reads a crap load, and I learn stuff on my own, and I try to apply them as best as I can, as honestly as I can. I'm starting my own YouTube channel here. Well, the first video will drop tomorrow, and it's called the Shade Tree Intellectual. Which, if there's any mechanics out there, you'll understand the funny joke behind that. But yeah, I do. I try to go on as many panels as I can because I'm really interested in binding the gap between ideologies so that we can start working together and make advancements in social interactions. There's just a lot of division, a lot of tribalism. And it's going to, if it continues and we don't continue to work on fixing that and repairing that, it will eventually cause some serious damage societally wise. And so I'm really active towards that. I'm also a men's right advocate and a feminist. I run a men's mental health support group here in Utah. We have just a couple of members, but it's growing. But I'm very, very interested in men's rights, men's mental health. But I'm very, very strict on the fact that we are not here to denigrate or put women down. We're actually here to help raise them up. Because the benefit of both groups is self-interest. Well, is mutual interest. So it's not a zero-sum game here. So I want to make sure that women feel heard and listened to, and provide a voice for them and a body for them to get things going for them as well. So,
you want to know something? First of all, I'm going to say, if anybody needs a dictionary in order to talk to Steve, you're okay.
I'm sorry.
It's not just you. That's his person.
Yeah. Google on hand.
Oh my God.
The funny thing is like everybody thinks mechanics are stupid, and it's like no, we're just normal people, And with today's cars,
did you say you were normal? No.
Yeah, I'm a normal guy.
No. I refute that. Poor Brad. Introduce yourself, Brad.
My name is Brad. I work in mental health. I got into these live streams by way of just having an interest in kind of like what Steve says, like what keeps us from coming together as a species. I believe we're all brothers and sisters sharing this planet, and the increased divide in the last several years has really concerned me. And so I've just kind of in my spare time listened to a lot of podcasts and streams, and the YouTube algorithm eventually led me to find myself sitting here with you guys. And I'm really happy to be here. I'm here to learn. I'm here to share whatever knowledge and experience I have, and hopefully we all get to learn that we're more similar than different, and that we all have things that we can learn and grow from each other with. And yeah, just happy to be here.
All right, that's really cool. My first question is this: what stood out? Wait, hey Frank, how you doing? I'm posting the YouTube link so that everybody will know we're here. So thank you for your patience on that. I didn't know if I was going to be able to get these guys together. If you, so just give me your patience on that. Anyway, what stood out most for you on yesterday's show, Steve?
Well, it was certainly a candid conversation. There's a lot of honesty and a lot of agreement on a lot of the issues. I think one thing that I look for in conversations is reciprocity.
Okay.
Like reciprocity and charity, right? So
Okay.
when people are talking together, are they actually listening to what is being said?
Okay.
And are they acknowledging comments? Are they acknowledging feelings? Are they pushing back on ideas that they don't agree with? And do you put your interlocutor, your conversation partner, when you hear what they say, do you put that in the best possible light? Because there's something called the principle of charity in philosophy. So when you're talking to someone, whatever they say, you try to put it in the best possible light, right?
Okay.
Because as human beings, we have a tendency to take things the wrong way.
Right.
And so this is something that can counter that. So I saw a lot of charity going on there. I saw a lot of strong feelings, and I can't praise Jody enough. I can't praise everybody on there enough, but Jody specifically, because his case was so public. Right. And his father did what we would all want to do. You know what I mean? Right. But I did like also the fact that you guys got down into like the nitty gritty of that business. Like, how's your dad doing? Like, he ended another man's life. How is he doing? Mm-hmm. Because that's something that nobody ever talks about. They just kind of like shy away from that. And I really liked that was addressed, because that has to go through somebody's mind when they take a life. Right. And then asking how he's doing, and the love map, that was important. I loved that. I love the fact that you guys mentioned that. There's so many great comments and so many great points that it's really hard to narrow it down. But really, I enjoyed the respect that was passed around that group. It was very respectful. It was very kind. There was a lot of charity. It was just a great conversation to listen to.
Okay. Bradford, you had and I appreciate what you said. Bradford, you had a lot of very interesting chat in the comments. Tell me, what do you think about the idea of how men respond once they have been sexually assaulted?
Can you say more?
Okay, so how do men respond in relationships? I apologize. How do men respond in relationships once they have been sexually assaulted? Like, what are some expectations? What are some signs that we can look for?
Well, depending on how they were sexually assaulted, on how old they were when they were sexually assaulted, on how much therapy they received after the assault, there can be anything from increased emotional ability, or a more rapid and wide-ranging shifting of emotions. There can be a lot of sexually acting out. So I think I don't know if it was Jody or I think it was Jody who said that people, because both men and women will become they can become very sexually promiscuous after they're sexually assaulted. Some people may go the exact opposite direction. Some people may identify as asexual because as they're developing their libido or love map, anything to do with sex is not safe. It's off the table. They don't want anything to do with it.
Okay.
For the record, I appreciate the specific questions because I can go in so many directions, and so questions are super helpful.
All right. I'm curious. Let's pretend like someone is hypersexual in a relationship, and that's really awesome, right?
It can be.
Right. In the beginning, if that's reciprocated, but then after you get into the relationship, you notice that there's an emptiness to that sexual connection. Because I think that that's some of the stuff that can happen, that there starts to be a emptiness in the sexual connection, and it stops feeling genuine.
Sure. I don't know that that's limited only to people who've been sexually assaulted.
I agree with that, but I guess what I'm asking is, what about when that happens and you have been sexually assaulted? Because if that subject matter is already sensitive and then a problem is developed, it's really harder to tease out the idea, to tease out the problems.
Yeah. One of my rules of life, I have it tattooed on the back of this eyelid, is it's not about the rupture, it's about the repair.
Ooh.
And I know, it's so good. And so if in a relationship, if it's a healthy relationship and the libidos start being mismatched, or if one of the participants suddenly realizes that sex is just no longer fulfilling, and they have a history of rape or sexual assault, and they think it's tied to that, they've got to communicate. They've got to communicate, or not, right? If there is no sexual assault, they still need to communicate about what's happening inside of them. If we don't talk about what's happening inside of us, often it gets worse. We start to feel more shame. We'll start acting out in other ways, and that will confuse our partners, and that will lead to, more rupture.
Steve, how have you seen men act out when it comes to sexual assault or any?
So something that isn't often talked about is male victims of sexual assault often have a hard time in relationships in different ways. Like some of the guys that I know had difficult times trusting their partner, period. They felt almost like one of the gentlemen that I know kind of likened it to imposter syndrome.
Okay.
Like the person he was with, he just couldn't believe that he had someone that good, and so he constantly distrusted the relationship, and there was no need to. There's also men who have just straight from the get-go, they just will not trust their partner. There will always be some kind of distrust of the relationship, distrust of the person themselves, a fear that they're going to get hurt, a fear that that something is going to happen, kind of an overall like impending doom kind of a feeling. So many of their relationships don't last very long. They're not very deep. They're very superficial. And I think this actually partially kind of tips into the sexual promiscuity. And I think they would be definitely linked in some way. I think if we actually looked at it, we would find a correlative. But there's also other ways in which some men withdraw completely. There's some men that they withdraw because they have this fear that they're going to be the same kind of abuser. And so they just disappear, or some of them commit suicide, or some of them seek help. There's a broad range of behaviors that I've noticed. And obviously I'm not a mental health professional like Bradford here is. But one thing that I always recommend to these men is that they seek out mental health professionals. Walking around with a broken leg would not be a good idea. So why would you walk around with a broken mind? Like, this stuff needs to be repaired, and we need to start. We need, first of all, we need to destigmatize men and women's sexual assault. Like, this needs to be a conversation we need to be having on the regular. And that way we can destigmatize, to men specifically, we can destigmatize the act of going to a therapist. This is why I've been very outspoken from the beginning. I go to a therapist. I love it. It's been very beneficial for me because I have a couple of compounding problems that make life hard for my therapist. I have something called inappropriate affect. So my emotions are not necessarily always congruent with the event going on. So I'm the guy that laughs at a funeral, or
Ooh.
cries when a dog is hurt. The feelings are also disproportionate to the event, and sometimes this can occur from what she told me. This can occur from both trauma, or it could be natural. It's hard to say, but it makes diagnosing other issues very difficult in some cases, especially if you've got memory loss due to assault, which I have a large chunk of my childhood that I don't remember, but I always assumed that was due to my drug use because I was a meth and heroin addict for a long time. So there's compounding interests. And on top of that, I had a very difficult situation with my first child. She was kidnapped by her mother. I didn't see her for 16 years. And now we finally have a budding relationship. I helped bury 3 of my friends' children, and they were all under the age of 5. So there's compounding PTSD problems here that I never had diagnosed. I just kind of manned my way through it and just kind of, went through it. But it wasn't until I was in a relationship with my wife that I started to realize that I'm not okay. There was a period of time where there was no way I could cry if I even wanted to. I would drink many of my problems away. I was still in a healthy relationship, but I was not the healthy one in the relationship. My wife was. And that's not to say anything on her. It kind of sounds bad the way that I said that. But no, she's been my emotional rock during this time. And so if that's happened to me and that's the way that I behave, I have to assume someone who has suffered something equal to or worse may exhibit that same symptom or many of the same symptomology, right? So I think the range of reactionary behaviors can be just as broad as the spectrum of what committed or what caused them to react that way as well.
I want to talk about men who've been injured by women. It's not necessarily sexual assault, but maybe mental abuse, if that makes
Both
any
of those.
Okay.
Kid Laroi and Justin Bieber's song "Stay" immediately comes to mind.
Yeah. How does that go?
Yeah, sing for us, Bradford.
Whoa! But the one of the choruses is "I'll be fucked up if you can't be right here," right? So I mean, you could clearly I'm biased. I'm gonna pull Freud out of my ass, but like this song is basically a insecure attachment song to the mother. So in healthy development, the child needs to feel safe and secure to go wander away from mom, to go explore, or dad, right? It's not only mom. To go explore, to fall down, to look back at the parent and make sure everything's okay. Everything's okay. All right. I fell down. That's okay too. All right, cool. they need to have that. And if you know, if a child, especially young males, get helicoptered by their usually mothers, that can lead to a lot of resentment and a lot of insecure attachment. And so you can have a lot of anger with women. Sorry, I got distracted. Both lost the video stream. You can have anger with women, and a lot of blaming them for the man's problems. Like,
So I am curious. You just brought up a really good point.
yeah,
A lot of men have just flat out, straight up anger at women. I said this earlier, but they like they like the female part, but they don't really like the female.
yeah.
Wait a minute.
Right. So if we think about our hierarchy of needs, food.
Hold on, I can't even let you answer that question because Steve went away like right on cue with that. What's the deal, Steve? What's the deal?
I had to get a drink. I heard everything.
Likely story. That was priceless. I just appreciate it. I appreciate that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I sang and his ears started bleeding. He had to go medical emergency.
Okay, yeah.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about how men sometimes like the female part, but they don't like the female.
Yeah. So we think about our hierarchy of needs, right? There's food, shelter, sex.
Maslow.
Yeah, sex is a fundamental human need.
Right.
And so, you know, if a guy is heterosexual, then he's going to want to, I don't know how, he's going to want to have sex.
Okay.
Not get, stay PG-13. And because of various issues, again, I'm biased, in his family of origin, he can not want to have a woman around after that. There's a long-standing joke of, well, I pay the hook. I don't pay the hooker to have sex. I pay her to leave. Right. That kind of anger, control, chauvinism, of just wanting the part, but not the body and mind that comes with it.
So I get that, and not a problem with it per se. It's just that when it's not communicated, that's the real issue. Why get in a...
Why don't men communicate that more often?
Right. Yeah. Why get in a emotion? Why create an emotional attachment if that's, you know, how you're going to be?
Yeah. Because it's taboo. It's taboo to, at least where I grew up, it's taboo to go to a bar and say, "Hey, want to fuck?" Like, nice. That was a funny pickup line. "Hey, nice shoes. Want to fuck?" Like, to be that straightforward. The odds of that are very low, and so you've got people
Says
like
you.
Yeah, I was going to say you never know.
I wouldn't.
It might work.
I never went into the dating scene. But
want to know what? I beg to differ. I definitely got a lot of good feedback over your coffee mug picture. You were deemed to be eye candy.
That may be true.
Look at I'm making him blush.
Yeah, he's blushing. Holy cow!
I know. Look at
how different shades of red.
It's the
starts sweating. He's like, oh.
It's the camera. It's the camera.
It's the camera, all right. Oh my gosh! All right, Mr. Eye Candy. I should change your title under your name.
Oh.
Oh, it's definitely getting changed now.
I'm taking my pretty privilege with me and I'm going.
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
man.
I'll quit. Look, I'll quit distracting you. Go ahead. Wait, but it's just, you know what? It's hard to listen to you when you're this pretty.
I didn't know you were this pretty.
God.
This is what we call man pretty.
Yes, he is man pretty. He is. I'm loving it. I
Oh,
cannot.
my.
Over here crying.
I cannot. Okay.
So,
All right. He can.
I think for most men, it doesn't work to just walk up and say, "Hey, you want to have sex?" That's all I'm looking for. Let's just have sex and go our separate ways.
Okay.
Growing up, where I came from, that was called friends with benefits. That never worked. So,
really?
yeah. One person in the friendship usually, almost always, ended up wanting more than just friendships. Just friendship and sex. Nope, wanted more. It takes a lot of security to come out. Well, it takes a lot of security to be able to have and it may be impossible. There's a lot of interesting conversation on like whether men and women can even be friends, right? Or is sex always on the table?
Oh my God. Like, I want to say, oh my God. Oh my God. I got to do something on that. Do you think hey, let us know. Do you think men and women can be friends? As a matter of fact, I'm not sure if anybody will call because like not a lot of people are watching right now, but
Friday night, nobody wants to talk about rape, race, and religion. Come on.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Come on.
What are we thinking? You can call me and like give me your quick thought on anything, but I will want to know whether or not you think men and women can be friends. I definitely want to know your thoughts on that. Okay. What do you guys think? Do you think men and women can be friends?
Yeah.
Yes.
I do.
Both of you guys say yes?
Yeah.
You freaks.
Yeah.
You freaks. How dare you think that?
Yeah.
I mean,
you can want to have sex with your friends too. That doesn't mean you will have sex with them.
Right.
Attraction is attraction. Attractiveness is attractiveness.
So maybe that's a better question. Is it okay to want to have sex with your friends? Is that okay?
I mean, you share a certain degree of intimacy with most of your friends. I mean, that's why they're your friends. So it makes sense to me that, you know, trying to open that friendship up to a deeper intimacy, but not necessarily a relationship intimacy, is more than possible. I mean, I've had them majority of my adult life. I'm still friends with the majority of the women that I slept with that at least stayed around me. You know what I mean? I've got friends that I've had for 20 years that, you know, we used to be friends with benefits, and they're still my friends to this day. One of them married another one of my friends, you know, and both of them know. So it's not it's never been an issue. Because I mean, the thing that bothers me is that this double standard that men place on women versus themselves.
Yeah,
we've all heard it. Where it's like guys are like, oh, I don't know if I'd want a woman with that many partners, but what are you talking about? Like, who cares? Are they with you or not? If they're with you, why do you care? Like, you are not privileged to the entirety of their life. You are not the most important person in their life before they met you. You egotistical prick.
Yeah. Or you religiously abused prick.
Ooh.
Nice segue.
Ooh. Oh my gosh. Okay, so tell me where this religiously abused comes in. What are your thoughts? Wait, I want to wait a minute. Let's see.
Yeah, fourth color.
Yes. They say that her, I don't know if it's a girl or boy, but no, it must be a boy because the roommate is a girl and it's all about communication.
Could be a girl too.
Could be a
Okay,
lesbian.
well, I don't know. I don't know if this person's a boy or a girl, but the point is, but maybe they wouldn't be having that. They wouldn't say it that way though, because they might.
I've only heard men say gal. I'll give you credit there. I've only heard men say gal. I've never heard women say that.
Okay, so fourth color, please let us know if you are a man or a woman. We're gonna take bets behind the scenes.
Non-binary.
Be non-binary. Yeah,
right.
they them works.
Okay. All of that. Just let us know. You know, type 1, 2, or 3. I don't. I guessed right. Score. I guessed right. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
I love the mandala. That's a great YouTube profile.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not smart enough to know what that is. Tell me about that. What is that?
It's a circle that so it's a circular shape that has some kind of pattern in it that's often associated with meditation or healing.
Oh. Very nice. Do you study Eastern religions?
I have. It's not very active.
Okay.
I have a little bit, but I have a little bit, but not much. It's not. I mean, being an atheist, it makes it's uninteresting to me. Religions are just generally uninteresting to me, but I will say that out of all of the world's religions, I really dig a lot of what the Buddhists got going on.
Okay.
The Taoism's better.
Yeah, Taoism, Buddhism. I mean, the religions that seek to look inward, like specifically inward, because a lot of relationships look upward. I like the ones that look deeply inward, where the center of the self is the center of focus. I really like those kind of religions. But any kind of monotheistic religions or even polytheistic, I don't. Just ew to me.
Okay, so you guys, you finished this joke. A Christian, a Buddhist, and an atheist walk into a bar. Finish that joke because apparently that's what we got going on.
Yeah.
And right. You know, that's a good. Why do we enjoy each other? We obviously have very different belief systems, right?
Yeah.
What's the key behind this peaceful conversation?
We're all pretty.
Oh, yay! Pretty privilege.
I don't know. Like one of my favorite lines in one of my favorite movies, Mallrats, is Brody says, "I should know. We can smell our own."
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like there's good vibes. There's
well, you attract what you seek, and you attract what you are.
I like that too.
Well, I like that, but I've attracted some really goofy people, so that means that I'm.
Well, the problem that you have, Coach Love, is that you are very loving and you are very kind, and so you are going to attract a wider spectrum of people. Where I am an asshole, and I'm only going to get a select group of people. So, I mean, you know.
Okay. One day I'll grow a mean bone. One day.
Sorry.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know
why you would, because you're amazing the way that you are.
Well, thank you.
We need more people like you and less people like me.
You know what? Well, I'm happy. Wait. Watch this. I'm happy to have such an asshole as a friend.
Everyone needs an asshole. If you don't have an asshole, you die.
Right. Oh, yeah, but they all stink.
But they have to be, but they have to be pretty. That's the deal. If you're going to be an asshole, you have to look good. You can't be ugly and an asshole.
Oh man. Yeah.
So
Call me a bleached asshole. I'm good.
Can we go back to religious abuse, please?
Yes. Religious abuse, much better conversation, much safer.
So in a lot of
this is why we can't go back to religious abuse.
I'll speak only for Christianity.
Okay.
And I'll speak only for the Bible Belt. Most of our, if not all of our sex education is abstinence culture. And a lot of the Disney movies we were fed when we were young is there's one person for you. And so kind of combining those things, you know, if you don't abstain from sex, and of course, women are the easier target, so they get much more the shame. Then you're less desirable. And so, you know, if boys grow up in this context, then they're gonna, you know, you are what you eat to some degree, and so they can be more predisposed to being very hypocritical in that regard, of wanting, you know, a virgin. But not holding themselves to that same standard.
Ooh, that's why you get virgins when you go to heaven. And
you know, I'm not like that. I want an expert. Like, I don't want to go up there and have to learn somebody else's things. I mean, I'm a key start business. I want to go up there, if there is one. I want to go up there, and I don't want to have to work. I've worked my whole life. I don't want to have to work for anything else.
So Steve wants a turnkey process.
Yeah.
He wants it move-in ready.
Yep. Drop me off. I'm good to go.
There you go. Okay. Now for me, one of my big concerns with men and sexuality is that it's attached to manhood. Like, the more partners you have, the more of a man you are. And for me, that feels denigrating, because men shouldn't feel like they're all of their identity and the crown jewel of who they are is attached to, you know, their third leg.
Well,
agreed.
There's a lot to that conversation, but you're not wrong. There's to touch a little bit onto it, is that a lot of the times men feel like there's not much else that people would want from them. And there's a lot of pressure on men, because for all intents and purposes, we're expected to be kind, we're expected to be successful, we're expected to be at least somewhat attractive. We're expected to be unpaid bodyguards. And so there's a lot of things. So when we talk about the sexual objectification of women, there is also a sexual objectification of men. And because the different sexes view sex differently, those views are going to change slightly. But a lot of men that I know, they don't feel like they're worth anything else other than what they provide for the family. Now, it's so common, you cannot assume that this is anecdotal evidence. I mean, there's a wide range of men who feel this way. I felt that way for a very long time. It wasn't until I married my wife now, where she actually would randomly say, "I appreciate you," that I actually started to feel like I was actually appreciated. You know, so
Aww.
I think there's a wide range there. So I think you have to add that discussion in there with that note of men's sexuality, because really we're always searching for a way to put a value in ourselves. And that's the thing that has been most socially normative for men to do. So we tend to do that thing, which, to be honest, we need to break that ridiculous binary. But yeah.
So you're hitting a nail on the head. But hold on, I want to bring this up. Okay, so Portia says that's a horrible standard for men to have to live up to, and that's the sexual standard. Well, we can certainly go ahead and attach that to the standard of the male being the pocketbook as well. And then while we're at it, we can bring in the current look at male hypergamy, because now men are ready to be boy toys. Now we can go over that in any order that you want to unpack it, gentlemen.
I have an opinion on that.
I'm sorry, Brad picked boy toy first. I'm sorry.
Say what, Coach?
Now, why did you pick boy toy first, Brad? I love the blank look on his face. Okay, go ahead, Steve. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I forgot the question.
Thoughts on male hypergamy?
Oh, yeah. So there's multiple problems, but there's also multiple observations that we need to make there. Right. The first observation is men think that's awesome because, like you said, we just get the gushy and we don't have to deal with the person that's holding it. Right. So there's a problem with that. There's no relationship. There's no connection. There's no intimacy, right? Beyond very, very superficial sexuality. Right. That can be harmful over time, because even for myself, I was very promiscuous, but eventually I started to slow down. I was like, I'm tired of this. Like, I want to have a connection with someone. Like, I want to feel love with that person. And so my sexual promiscuity like came to a screeching halt. And you know, I had no shortage of offers, you know, because again, man pretty, but you know, that's okay. And so I had to kind of disengage with a lot of people. I slowly stopped talking to some people. I wouldn't call it ghosting. There's some people that I was just out and out honest with. I'd be like, look, I need to chill and I need to get back to me. So I will call you when I'm ready. And some of them I did. But
well, and that's why you're still friends with most of the women.
Yeah, I've been very, very open. I've always been a communicative kind of person where I want to make sure that you and I know exactly what this is. And if you can't handle it, then it's okay. And this is how I did it. I legitimately did it this way. I wanted to reinforce the fact that they had a right to say no. And I had an obligation to
there you go.
Right? So I always built trust in my relationships.
I have to tell you, if men would learn this thing, just be honest and clear, you will get much more of what you want. Really, really, really. You will be surprised the number of things that women will allow if you're very clear and upfront. And I know that sounds scary, right? But oftentimes this is what men do. And I'll just take the beginning dating thing going. They present the very best guy. Woo-hoo. He's always doing stuff for you. He's showing up for you. He's going to the wedding with you. All right, fine. Now you got me. Now you don't want to do stuff for me. You don't want to go to the wedding. You don't want to do any of those things. And then you say this, the woman hears this. Why are you trying to change me? Why are you trying to change? Who's trying to change you? I just want the guy that you were when you showed up. So this is the deal. Show up being the guy that you want to be in the relationship and let the woman fall in love with that guy. Then she won't ask you to go to the stupid wedding anymore because you never.
There won't be any surprises. There's not going to be any surprises.
There's no surprises. If she knows that you let your arm hair grow to the floor and that's how you are, and she dates you and braids that up, and you got a girl who enjoys that, Go right ahead.
You
Just
know,
be who you are in the beginning.
sorry, I thought you were done. I'm sorry. So
No,
something
trying
that
to
I
get
want to
this with me. Exactly. Thank you. Here
something
you
that I have
go.
to make clear here too is that I got laid far more when I respected the no than any other time. Like that was a surefire way for me, and it was cool because I view relationships as trust building exercises, right? All relationships are trust building exercises. Everything you do inside that relationship is a trust building exercise, whether that's your wife or your best bud, right? These are trust building exercises. Everything is, right? And so when you meet someone at a bar or a party, right? And you're getting hot and heavy with this person, and they're like, look, I've been drinking way too much and I don't think I should go any further. And you're like, you're right. And I'm going to make sure that that doesn't happen to you for the rest of the night. I'm going to make sure that you're okay. I'm going to make sure that nobody else takes advantage of you. And you can trust that I'm going to respect your no. Right. And I do. That's the hard part. You actually have to do the work. You actually have to respect the no. Right. But what you'll find is that a deeper, more meaningful relationship with that person, you just invited a friendship into your life that is based off of one, honesty, and two, mutual respect. That is so difficult to do. So if you start off your friendship like that, I mean, what do you think is going to happen when people feel respected and heard and seen and their boundaries are respected? Like, guys, you're playing the wrong freaking game.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the wrong fucking
Steve
game.
just gave you the booty call checklist. He was signed up for the Booty Call Magic. This is Booty Call Magic class, and he's teaching you how. By Steve J.
Well,
You were number one on everybody's booty call list. That's what happened.
I was. I'm serious. I was.
I know you were, because it was like this. Oh, Steve's safe. He's not going to hurt me. And we'll still be friends afterwards. And I know he's not going to run my name through the mud. You know, so you got laid by creating security.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Booty Call Magic by Steve J.
Yeah.
Pretty Steve J, that is.
I don't even remember where I was going. Yeah, I don't even remember where I was going with that. But it's the hypergamy. So
yes.
Then on top of that, you've got another problem, and now you're building into society a very big problem, which is you've got a certain group of people who think they have an inherent value that is outside of what's in here, right? Their value is assumed by the way that they look, right? I'm sorry, but guys, girls, that's a bad way to live life, thinking that this matters, right? It's what people connect with is in here. And if you're ugly on the inside, you should probably see someone and talk about that, and start trying to start watering and feeding that flower that everybody has inside them.
Yep.
And you'll find that when you do that, that's when you have the high value that these men who are also high value are looking for.
I
right?
need
And
Charles
you might actually get a relationship.
I need Charles in here to argue with you, because he completely believes in hypergamy. Where's Palou? Well, both of these men believe in an opposite way. For sure, for sure, for sure.
Yeah. Well, and that does have, you bring up a good point. That does have some cultural implications. So some countries are like that, some aren't. But it's no surprise why some people would choose that, because it's like, so the majority of women that I've noticed, and this is something that I've looked at, is the majority of women that I know and have met and have talked to, there's two types of men that they look for: providers or protectors. Now, both of those can be in the same person, and you usually don't find those men single very long. They're usually snatched up really quick, right? Those are high value men, right? But then you've got the others, like, let's say that you're a man of small demeanor, right? Let's say you're a very small man. Like,
tall privilege is real.
Yeah,
there
tall
you go.
privilege is real. But let's say that you're a smaller than average man, but you got a brain and you got money and you got gumption and you got passion, right? So you're out there making your dollar, so you can provide, right?
Okay.
If, let's say that the woman makes enough money for the two of you, she's not going to look for another provider. She's going to look for a protector. Okay. You always seek what you don't have.
Right.
Almost always. I rarely see that not being played out to be true. So if you're the provider, if you're the female, you want a man that can protect you and also give you some kind of an emotional support, right? But generally, those are the two things that I have personally noticed that women look for immediately, right? When they go out, they're looking for exactly their type of man, whether they know it or not.
What I'm generally looking for in a man, but really in all people, is patience and creativity. That is energizing for me, because
Right.
I feel like that's just the winning combination in the pursuit of life. It's the winning combination when it comes to um, a high emotional intelligence, a high adaptability quotient. And if you are not emotionally intelligent and your adaptability quotient sucks, then you are going to have a difficult time navigating life. And this is the thing that I don't want to do. I do not want to be the decision maker all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to trust a man's decision making. I want to be able to trust my friend's decision making,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And those are the people that I need in my circle, because if I'm the only set of knowledgeable eyes and ears, then it sucks to be me.
I was always taught that a man had two roles, protect and to nourish. And that has served me very well, because to nourish someone, you have to have an emotional investment in that person. You have to be invested in the best possible outcome for their life. And so you work and you strive to do that. And it also keeps you in line in the sense that, let's say that your wife wants to do this thing. Let's say she wants to go back to school, right? All right, cool. But now you're gonna start doing the laundry. You're gonna start cooking the meals. You're gonna start cleaning the house. Even though you have to work, you have to realize she's doing something too, right? So nourishing someone's soul is just as much as important as protecting their physical body and protecting their mind. So I even have to protect my wife from me. If I'm having a bad day, I need to vocalize it. I need to say, sweetheart, I'm having a horrible fucking day, and I'm really short-tempered today. So I just want you to know it's not your fault. It's something else that happened today, and I'm going to try and take care of it. But if I don't, I want you to understand that I still love you, but I'm probably going to be in the other room for a majority of the night trying to deal with this. But I love you.
Brad, is that standard too high for men? Is that too much to ask for?
Well, I want to say no.
But
he's like, I want to say
no. No, it's not. I hope we're evolving to that. I think we are hungover from our fathers not being shown any affection. And so we are stumbling our way through how to be more whole men. And so, maybe in 5-10 years, that'll be a more global standard. But right now, it's probably a lot to ask.
You know what? So I've been constantly pushing forth this idea of positive masculinity. You know what? I want to say this. I was on a panel the other day and I said positive masculinity. And no matter how many times I said positive masculinity, they heard toxic masculinity. I was like, no, I'm not talking about that. I said positive masculinity. So it's like the opposite has been programmed into the mind. But that said, I think you gave a great definition of what the search for positive masculinity is. Allowing a man to be a whole person and still letting him own his manhood.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we chop men up and we chop them off, and don't allow them to fully express themselves. I was watching something with the animal kingdom today. I didn't get to see exactly what kind of animal it was, but in the background, I was hearing the person talking, and they were telling how the animals gathered when one died, and you could hear them wailing as and crying, you know. Now, it wasn't just the women, it wasn't just the men, it was all of them doing that. Hey, Paloo, how are you? What's up, baby toad? But yeah, for
You know,
sure.
there's something that we haven't talked about,
Hey,
which
Barbara.
I think we should at least a little bit, is that there is such a thing as submissive men, and it's
Okay.
also important to let them know that that's okay as well. And
Yeah.
the reason why is because when we place upon all men this hyper masculine kind of concept, what we're doing is, in a way, we're harming the way those men view themselves, right? It's more than okay to be a submissive male, right? And a lot of introverts, maybe they're more submissive, more on the submissive scale, and that needs to be destigmatized as well, because
I don't know
before,
any fella who wants to outwardly tell his friends, I'm a submissive man. I don't know if anybody wants to own that.
right, but there's so many of them, you just don't know it. And
Oh,
here's the
yeah.
problem. Here's the
Yes,
problem that
dear.
men have, because we've all heard that speech about like men wanting submissive women. Well, here's the mistake that they make. Too many of them assume that that being submissive equals being weak, and that
Yeah.
is not right. Submissive women, submissive men are some of the strongest people that you will ever meet by far, because they've got to deal with shit you have no idea about. Right. So I want to make sure that the submissive men out there that are listening to this, I want you to be aware that you're just as unique and just as special and just as valuable as the most masculine men. Right. We need to break away from this very monochromatic view of masculinity, and kind of, at this point, it would be good if it was a binary, because right now it's just this monochromatic view of masculinity. And I don't want to leave those men out of that, because that takes a terrible toll on a man when he's constantly emasculated by a society that doesn't see his value.
Oh, yeah. What are you going to do about it?
Come on your live stream and say these words.
Yeah. Hold on. I'll get off of my soapbox now.
Let's go protest. Oh my gosh, you know what? We got to figure out a way to package that to where it's palatable, because I think you might have hit on something, and you hit on a scary something. I do not know any men that want to be advertised as submissive. I think it might be easier to get a man to talk about that he cried that one time at band camp than it would be to get a man to say, I'm submissive.
Well, it's actually more common than you think, and you've noticed it more than you know, because I guarantee you, the second I say this, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I want you to think about a black leather mask and a dominatrix.
So hold on one second. I'm not saying that I don't notice that and I don't see that. No.
Yeah.
I'm saying to get a man to outwardly admit that in front of a group of men, like in normal social discord, like that to be his label. I think it's sexy to sell it with the kind of situation. Oh, that's sexy because it's sexual. But to sell that dynamic, outwardly, I don't know. I think that's a hard sell. It might be a hard sell with men and women. I'm not saying that there's something wrong with it. I'm saying it might be a hard sell.
Yeah.
Brad,
well, my point was this. Sorry. if I can just make this point real
Yes,
quick.
yes.
My point was, when we imagine that in our mind, or when we see it on TV or in a movie, right? When we're looking at that, we're looking at female empowerment, which is awesome. Like, female empowerment is freaking awesome. But we rarely pay attention to the one in the mask, who is obviously male, but that mask is a metaphorical thing.
Okay.
Right? He's hiding who he is truly. And so until he can take that mask off and can feel comfortable doing so, that's never going to be attained societally or socially, right?
Say that
so
again.
We really need to have.
Say what you said again.
Well, I'm saying that until we can take that mask off, until those men can take that mask off, and to show their faces, to be proud of what they are and what they're doing, they're going to constantly be putting that mask on, right? So when we go out into public and we see these men and they're all doing masculine things, we are unaware of the mask that they would rather have on.
Okay.
They are playing a role, and when you play a role, when something is fake, right? So if you're playing into this role of fake masculinity, you are constantly tired. You just want to be who you are. So that was my point, is that we see them, but we never acknowledge them because they're hidden behind a mask that we can't see.
So you think they're like a GIMP?
Well, GIMP is a very strong term, I would say. I would just say submissive men. GIMPs are actually very separately, like, they're specifically different. But
okay, we're now moving into the S&M portion.
BDSM 101.
There you go. Okay, who's the expert?
Wait, that way.
Wait a minute. Here we go. This is your. Wait a minute, really? Here you go. Okay, class is in session. Go, Steve. No, I'm horrible.
Now, what the biggest problem with that is you'll never know whether I'm telling the truth or not.
Oh, I believe you.
Oh man, we'll just let the audience figure it out.
Right. And I like it. No.
Don't do that when I'm taking a drink. Come on now.
Why not? It's fun. Okay. So I love your metaphor that you made there. I absolutely love it. But I feel like stuck. I feel stuck in what to do about it. I have no idea how to help a man have pride for saying I'm submissive in that way. I have no idea.
You've given them the key to the door, which is what I just did. I said it's okay to be submissive. There's nothing wrong with it.
Okay.
Simple as that. Just, it's no different than saying, women, you are capable of doing everything a man can do, and probably backwards and in high heels.
Mm-hmm. Well, so, I mean, that's already been proven, right? That's already been proven.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. That was something that I think it was Ginger Rogers that said it, is that she can do everything a man can do except backwards and in heels.
For sure. Brad is an actual medical professional. He's an actual psychologist. No, are you a psychiatrist or a psychologist?
Psychologist.
Okay. He's an actual psychologist. What do you think of? What is your professional opinion on this matter, sir? You know what? This idea of men being submissive in relationships and being proud of it. What's your thought?
Yeah, let's get there, right? I'll quote Too Short. Like, we all need to get in where we fit in, and the more we can be who we are in relationships, the less stuck we'll feel in what we can be. So if anyone feels submissive, like they have a tendency to be submissive, then own it, claim it, go for it, and you'll probably find yourself in a short term or, in a long term, a lot more balanced out.
Wow. Wow.
And I
I
hope
want
these
to
things.
hold on. I want to be surrounded with men with beards. Rick is here, and he's really a old-fashioned guy. You know, he used to be a paramedic. I don't know if I can get him up here. You can let me know yes or no if you're willing to come up. But I really feel like he represents a different generation. You guys are, I feel like you are Gen Xers where Rick is more, I mean, he is more of the, man.
No, and we're not.
No, you're not that kind of guy. You are men, but like he just has more role definition for sure in the way he was brought up. He says he's sorry he can't come. Aw, poo. Well, I'll I'll just have to find another man. It'll be hard to find another man like you, Rick. But what shall a girl do? Oh, he turned me down.
Well, bringing Rick up though, and that type of male role model, right? There's a lot of benefits to that. One of those things is you create this sturdiness of being, right? That sturdiness of character,
Right.
And that can be extremely beneficial. So when you're trying to do something, that stubborn kind of like nothing is going to get in my way. I will go through walls, buildings, and people to get what I want. Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very specific kind of mentality that a lot of men do have. They will stop at nothing to get what they want. Right. There's also this understanding that a man needs to stand up for what he believes in, and he needs to do what is right. He needs to be honorable. He needs to be a person of integrity. He has to show respect, right? So these, while they are very old school kind of structures, I would say, it doesn't mean that they're not translated into the next generation. As a matter of fact, we improve upon them. But that doesn't mean that there's not utility in the original version of that.
I love it. There's definitely utility. How do we bridge the gap? Because this is what I hear coming from guys. As a matter of fact, I heard it already that, the names they call men who are more of your line of thinking are not nice names. And Rick didn't say this about you guys, but I hear that, I get all kinds of feedback, right? But it's associated with being soft. I personally find the way you guys think through things and handle things very attractive. And I feel like my mind is being open as well as a woman. But I do acknowledge that everybody doesn't feel that way. There's a group of men that don't feel that way. There's a group of women that absolutely don't feel that way. And I think that has to be a part of the conversation,
It should be. Yeah. I've been talking a lot. I do have something to say on this, but Brad, did you have anything to say on this? Because I've been taking up a lot of mic time, and I apologize for that.
Bradley, darling, do you have something to say?
Well, two things come to mind. One, now three things. As we are raising children, it seems very easy to me to praise determination, to praise courage, to praise thoughtfulness, to praise kindness, to praise perseverance, regardless of gender.
Right.
And so and as we are kind of recovering from this emotional hangover that's, I think, affected generations, I hope we're going to be more emotionally intelligent with raising our children, which maybe the next generation, if social media doesn't destroy us, that we'll be a lot more emotionally intelligent and a lot more fluid in our submissive and dominance roles and preferences. Because I think balance is I think balance is beautiful and harmony is beautiful in a relationship. I think it would kind of be boring if I was always making all the decisions. And it'd be boring if my wife was always making all the decisions. It's not my preference. And then maybe Dumpster Rick won't get in here, but maybe Mr. Pelu will. He had a really interesting note that I think, if I got the timing right, that men who won't take the mask off are ashamed of deviant behavior, and I don't know if that was meant to be like more for more submissive men. And so
maybe Mr. Pelu, where are you? I don't know if he stuck around because I think there's a couple of other panels going on in the fact chamber. Yeah. I could be wrong, but if you're around, please come up. I'm pretty sure you have the link, but I'll make sure. I'll double check it. But is it deemed? Oh, he says he's here. Okay, well, come up. Check your what is that, DM? What is that called? Is that right? Direct message?
Direct message, I don't care. Yeah, whatever you want to call it. Private message, direct message.
He's sliding into his DMs.
I slid into Mr. DMs. Yes, I did. Yes, it did. You know, I got it like that.
You know, going back to what you said, though, is like, you know, they can call us soft all they want, and you know, you're more than entitled to, but it's not going to feel soft when my 10-inch harness boots up your ass. Don't make the mistake of assuming my kindness for weakness. That's a bad idea on your part. Don't do it.
Yeah. Okay. So, how can I say this? You put a growl behind that, right? Why did you choose to go in that direction where, you know,
because, you know, one of the best qualities of a man, strangely enough, is his willingness to do violence. This is something that nobody ever really talks about, right? We you know, Jordan Peterson touched on it a little bit, but I don't think he said it as eloquently. But really, we look for men who are capable of doing violence, but yet being able to hold that back and to still have that tenderness and still have that kindness and that control of that, right? Because the control of that aggression, that male aggression, is actually a key factor in understanding how a man functions mentally. Like, you have to be a mentally strong person to be able to control yourself, especially when you're super pissed off. Because nobody likes someone who comes off as, you know, mentally unstable. I'm sorry to put it that way. We're attracted to stable people.
Yes.
The majority of us. And so when we look at people, especially people that we trust with our hearts, with our minds, with our bodies, with our spirituality, we need someone that we know we can trust has their shit together. And that is a factor in attraction, but it is not necessarily a mandatory thing, because I don't want to put this idea in people's heads that this has to be a part of masculinity. It doesn't. I'm just saying it is a part of what you could consider masculinity.
Yeah.
Okay. So strength under control is very sexy.
Yeah.
It's very sexy. Mr. Pelu, where are you? This is your voice. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's me.
All right, we hear you. Go ahead. You're in.
Yeah. So the way you asked me about the comment I made, no, only because if you wear a mask, doesn't the mask as a psychologist, why do people wear masks? Tell me about masks and life as a psychologist.
So we all wear masks all the time. I wear several masks during the day. I wear a mask as a father. I wear a mask as a husband. I wear a mask as a professional. I wear a mask as a neighbor. These are all different personas that I'll put on at any given time to have the most efficiency in that environment. I'm not going to talk to my kids like I talk to my wife. I'm not going to talk to my wife like I talk to my kids. And I'm not going to talk to my clients like I talk to my wife or my kids. So in that sense, masks are fundamentally human in the kind of cultures we live in. We're all wearing masks all the time. Is how I'd respond to that.
Okay, we all wear masks all the time. So, yeah, okay. I mean, I kind of get that because we all. I mean, I don't act the same way at work that I'll act in YouTube or something like that. So I kind of get that. But it's like, how much is it a mask? Is it just style? I mean, would you consider that a mask? Because sometimes it just could be style. It could be appropriation. Because it's like. A mask is one thing, right? You can say faces, right? But look, you don't want to be seen. It's like, okay, when you talk to your child knows it's you and can identify you. When you talk to your wife knows it's you and can identify you. When you talk to your client knows you, can identify you. But when you wear a leather mask, do you identify with yourself when you wear a leather mask? Like is the mask you see what I'm saying? Because it's one thing to have an open face and talk to somebody in different ways, but then a mask, you don't know what the person is. So that's why I think there is a substantive difference with a mask than just having different approaches to different people, because you can't see the person. You can't identify the person when there's a mask, but when you're talking to your clients, they can identify who you are. It's part of your track record. But when you have a mask, you're trying to say that's not part of your track record.
Yeah, it can be, right? And so that's where I think that's what Steve was talking about, how we want to remove the shame from submissiveness, to be able to take that mask off and own that authenticity. But masks aren't always associated with shame, right? Like Halloween is fucking great. And or like role play in the bedroom. It's great. So, I guess I hear the wearing a mask in more submissive situations as feeling ashamed, and I want to differentiate that feeling of shame from I want to probably label that as toxic shame or inherited shame, not authentic shame.
Wait, when is shame not toxic?
So,
no.
Like, if I know that that I'm supposed to be watching my kids, and instead I'm making a grilled cheese or playing on my phone, and one of my boys gets hurt, I feel healthy shame there. Right, because I messed up. I knew I was supposed to be doing something, and I wasn't doing it, and something bad happened.
Got it.
Healthy shame.
Rich wants to talk about role play. That's not what he said at all, but why not? Thanks, Rick.
Anyway, I kind of get it because look, I mean, I understand shame. I think shame is good. Like in some ways, a lot of times it's shame. Like for example, I'm ashamed to do a crime. Like you're not gonna see me doing a crime and getting locked up and getting my handcuffs. I'll be ashamed. I'll be ashamed. If my family knew I was in jail, I'll be ashamed. Like the one time I ever got locked up, I didn't tell nobody. The one time I got arrested, I was in jail. I just sat there, didn't tell nobody because I was too ashamed to let anybody know that I was in jail. I was in jail. I was too ashamed. I just took it and sat in the jail until I had to see the judge because I was too ashamed to tell somebody, hey, I'm locked up. So I think some shame is good because it stops you from doing things that you don't want to do. I mean, I'm not a psychologist, but the one-on-one psychology I know, there was id, ego, and super ego. So the shame is like the super ego, right? Like, so it's like I think it's good to have some levels of shame because because shame is just basically, to me, an awareness of boundaries. I mean, sometimes you have to have an awareness of boundaries, but that's why I said maybe the mask is the cover, because you might be able to put that mask and say, okay, I'm crossing the boundary I know I'm not supposed to cross. That's why I'm wearing a mask when I'm doing it, because I'm not trying to be associated with the boundary I knew I wasn't supposed to cross.
Yeah, yeah, I hear that, and I'm so grateful for your thoughts. So here's where I'll get on my soapbox and differentiate healthy shame from toxic shame.
Okay.
A lot of our superego is formed by what we learn in our community from our parents or from our churches as healthy or unhealthy. And, it's my opinion that a lot of what we can be taught from our parents and churches and other community is toxic shame. That's just what I believe. And so if a child has been shamed, right, has been told that their natural curiosity with sex is bad or dirty, or they're going to go to hell and burn forever, hell yeah, they're going to wear a mask. Hell yeah, they're going to be terrified to, come out of the closet, as it were, because they've been spiritually abused, in my opinion.
I don't know that spiritual abuse.
Wait. Hold on one second.
Yeah, I know. I said
want you to know, this is going to be really, really bad. I'm going to admit it right up front. I'm going to do this as I ask this question, but I'm still going to do it. Okay. What do we tell our children when we see them exploring sexually when they're teeny, teeny, tiny, like 5?
Heck yeah.
What do we say? What do we do? How do we respond? I have a psychologist here and we're talking about this stuff. So I'm like, well, why not?
Yeah.
Do tell me.
Yeah.
What do you do?
A lot of it depends on the context. A lot of children will start rubbing up against things, or just playing with their genitals or private parts because it feels good.
But how do we navigate that? What's an appropriate response? Right.
What we tell them, or at least what, the best that I've figured out to this date, and there are a lot of really good books on this. I don't have any off the top of my head. I don't have memorized, but I got them written down somewhere. Is, hey, that's your private part. If you want to be playing with your private part, you need to be in your room or you need to be in your bathroom. That's not for other people. That's not for the public area. It's not for the public area because eventually, maybe it'll be for other people. But it's not for public. That's for private. If you're going to be doing that, you need to go to your room. Right? I don't want to shame them at all. I want them to know that bodies do feel good. And I want them to know that no one has permission to touch their private parts. They don't have permission to touch other people's private parts. And that if somebody is trying to touch their private parts, they go tell an adult immediately. They come tell us. So, I believe in education, transparency as much as possible.
That's a really good answer. I was kind of being a little silly with it, but I wanted to approach
really
it in the funnest way I could to not make it as hard, right? Because in this world where sex is so prevalent and it's everywhere, and kids are finding out about it at earlier and earlier ages.
Yep.
It feels like it's hard to manage as a parent. It feels like it can be overwhelming.
Yep.
And it's hard to know, is this natural in my child or did someone do something to advance this behavior, right?
Yeah.
It just makes you start to wonder, why is my kid doing this? And where is it coming from?
Yeah.
So it's difficult to know when to raise the alarm.
Yeah. Very well said.
Thank you. It is my firm belief that Steve was away getting a book.
Maybe.
he had a book somewhere and he was searching deeply for it because something was said. That's just what I mean. You can tell me differently, Steve, but I will still believe that in the back of my mind.
No, I was looking for a book. I can't find it, but it actually discusses this exact same thing. But to echo what Bradford said is that there is a point in time where every child becomes aware of their body, and there's a natural curiosity that comes with that. And depending upon when they do that, they might not know that the public is not the place for that. But the problem that he was speaking to, and this is the part that I really want to echo, is that their body is not something to be ashamed of. And that to shame them is to kind of enshackle them for the remainder of their life into this very unhealthy view of their body. And it's a very, what I would consider a very dangerous proposition.
So, like, why don't we just go back to the old school ways? How come we can't say this? How come we can't say, if you don't stop doing that, you'll blind your eye? How can you say that?
The PhD in the room's going crazy right at the moment.
But that never worked, though. Does that ever work, though? Does anybody ever believe that?
It didn't work with me.
Whoever believed that? Whoever believed that? I mean, didn't nobody ever tell me that? But like I didn't see it on TV and stuff. But whoever. I mean, I've heard lots. I've heard it make you get old fast. I heard it make you get old fast. I heard it.
Oh, what?
Yeah. So somebody said that make you get old fast.
It just made me want to play with it more.
Oh my goodness. Look, our parents, they had to come up with something, right? They had to come up with something. It wasn't a psychologist, readily available.
But I don't remember, but I don't remember at 5 though. I don't remember that at 5. That's kind of, I don't remember playing with myself at 5. I don't think so. Not at 5. I mean, I might have. Maybe I don't remember. I don't remember until like middle school. I probably did. I don't know if I did it. I don't think I did at 5. Hold on, I'm trying to think, because I don't really remember that stuff until like middle school. Like late elementary, like maybe 5th grade at 10. I don't remember that stuff that early. Like at 5, I don't remember that stuff that early.
Well,
look at
Bradford,
Mr. He's like, no, not me. No.
Just wait.
Yeah. Hey, Bradford, isn't it around the age of 2 or 3 when children generally start to explore their bodies? It's like after the diaper is off, they're potty trained, and then they start to, you're doing the potty training. Isn't that around the age, like the 2 to 3 year old range, where they start to kind of investigate, which also kind of correlates with why he might not remember it, because as far as I remember, we don't really start forming long-term memories until we're past the age of 3 or 4, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't have the specifics, but my experience with my kids is as soon as you can walk and talk and start talking about how you're exploring your world. Questions about penises are going to come up. I got boys, so if I had girls, it'd be about vaginas too.
Maybe not.
Well,
no, that's what I'm saying. I get it, boys. It's external, so it's like, what's this?
Yeah.
Very curious. You know what? As we round up here, I just want to put this up. This is why I need to.
I started laughing. I know. And I started laughing when you were talking, Steve. It wasn't about you. It was dumpster.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Oh my! I absolutely adore. He cracks me up. He cracks me up so much. Listen, I could talk to you fellas all night. That's not happening, though. It's not happening. Any last words? Let Steve tell us about his S&M practices. Go ahead.
Not a chance.
Not a chance. He's keeping his leather mask to himself. Okay.
No, I'm keeping my leather vest to myself.
Ooh.
No, but you know, the whole idea behind all of this is really to start talking about what masculinity really does, you know, mean to all of us, not just like a select few that have a platform, right? We want everybody to start engaging into this conversation. Like, start this conversation with your friends, you know, and don't just take their word for it. Talk to other people, because if you don't, you'll get into that confirmation bias, or even, you know, in my opinion, even worse, that epistemic bubble. And we don't want that. We want to get a wide range of opinions, a wide range of views. Know your safe word.
Right. There you go. There you go.
And find a person who will respect your safe word.
Amen.
And especially knows your safe word when you can't speak.
Ooh.
Because ball gags are a thing, and you can't yellow and you can't red if something's in your mouth.
There you go. Ball gags are a thing. It's its final word. Ball gags are a thing. That's what.
I can't follow that.
Hold on. Okay, I'll give Mr. Palou a chance, and then it's coming back to you. Okay.
I mean, I wasn't here for most of the talk, but I'm gonna say the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. That's my final words today. The fear of God is the beginning of wisdom.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. See, there you go. There you go. And by the way, Rick says his word is pumpkin.
Mine is supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
God. You boy.
Steve, the sound of that is quite atrocious.
I cannot.
I guess my final word would just be when can we do this again? This is fun. It's fun.
I love it.
I'd really like to talk about this and masculinity and religion and how those two things combine together. Because I can only speak from my perspective growing up Mormon and then becoming an atheist. But there's other people who are still religious, like Mr. Palou, who would be a good source to pull from or draw from. And I know you, Coach Love, you have a religious belief, I believe. I don't know about you, Brad. We've never talked about it. I don't think we've ever broached that topic. But because there are a lot of really harmful practices in some faiths that do have an implication on our masculinity. And we really do need to bring those things out and talk about them and not just keep them in the bag.
I'll go for it. You know what? Mr. Palou is only adding to my joke here. And for these purposes, Brad is a Buddhist. So a Christian, an atheist, a Buddhist, and a Muslim walk into a bar. Ta-da! That's what you get.
And we also
only the Buddhist is asking, make me one with everything. but Allah tells them changes inside.
Oh my goodness. I cannot. You guys are delightful. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you. Thank you everyone for watching. You are amazing. Bye-bye for now.